I'll hit the right button this time. Damon McDonald.
Yes.
I am awesome, apparently.
Apparently.
Well, I'm having a look at this book just behind me, and I might as well just bring you up here. G'day. I was going to say Ian again. Why am I calling you Ian? Who are you?
No idea.
Damon. Like, I'm having a look at this book just behind me. It's called I Am Awesome, and I'm guessing you are awesome. Tell me about the Damon McDonald story. Maybe let's not go back 32 years, but tell me why this came about.
Yeah, I think it was the journey to becoming awesome. And so I had a beautiful gift of a few challenges in life, which then set me on a journey of my own. And the crux of that was I got to read the obituaries of somebody I knew who had a heart attack on the same day I had mine. And they were a really inspirational person, and I'd hit rock bottom and was suicidal. So why them and not me? And that was the most amazing gift, because the journey to get to hospital 2 days before showed me very clearly that I didn't want to die. I just had no idea how to live after the drama that I went through. And so reading that person's obituaries showed me how I wanted to live.
Wow, what a way to start. So how long ago did that happen?
That was 2017.
Okay. What happened after that? What made you start this journey?
Figuring out who I was. And that was the journey, because I was struggling with suicidal depression, going through that, having that experience. Sort of, I didn't have the answers, but I knew I wanted to do a different journey. I knew I wanted to stay here. I knew I wanted to be not the same. And Jim Carrey has a beautiful description for depression, which is it's your body and your soul telling you that it's had enough of the facade that is your life.
We're talking about Jim Carrey, the comedian.
Yeah, the comedian actor.
Yep. Yeah. So your body's a facade.
Your life is a facade. My body and soul was telling me this is not my life, what it was, what I went away from.
Okay.
So the journey to becoming awesome is finding out my true, authentic self.
How did you come up with that title? Like, I mean, there's so many other titles you could have come up with.
For the book?
Yeah, for the book.
And that was the journey to discover who I am. And so I ended up, part of the process was building a boat to get back in touch with me, because that was my creative spirit. And so I got back from Cambodia, where I had my heart attack, and then ended up relocating, because I was divorced, married and divorced as a stepdad for 10 years. So I lost all of that identity. And so now I wanted to recreate who I was. And so the hardest question was, who do you want to be? And I couldn't answer that question.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of those questions about, what's your purpose? Who are you? What do you want to be?
Yep.
You said you had a heart attack.
Yeah.
What you were suffering from? A degenerative disease?
Didn't even know I had heart issue, but it wasn't. It was the stress that I'd been under, the suicidal depression, because it was the relationship was really difficult, challenging in the last couple of years. It was brilliant up until, which is why you get into relationships, but then it had turned toxic, and I was on the receiving end of some pretty psychologically. It's just that concept of. I suppose you could call it narcissistic behaviour, but it was just undermining me, chip. It was death by 1,000 criticisms, tiny little, beautifully said, beautifully delivered, but they were criticisms. What are you doing that for? Why are you doing it like that? Constantly undermining my...
Was this your self-talk?
No, this was the ex. So I'd be cooking dinner for all of us, and she'd get home from work, and the first thing she'd say would be, "Why are you doing it like that?"
Right.
And my
you didn't see that as a bit of like,
I argued with it. No.
Add some spices, improve it. You saw it as criticism.
It was always delivered as criticism. It was always undermining. Yeah. So it's one little comment once a day, and it just
that compounds. It does.
And the rest of the day was fantastic, but that one little comment adds up. Yeah. And so you don't even know it's happening, although you're feeling it. You know it's happening, but you don't know the effect of it happening until it's too late. So you go through the journey of trying to figure it out. Why you're doing like that? You try and get them to change their language, change their approach. But when there's full-on resistance to that and they keep doing it, it really does wear you out.
Can I ask, let's go back a little bit, because
sure.
I'm fascinated by people's lives, and And if we can go back to, say, like your teenage years or your adolescent years, in your early years, what was that like? Was there any...
Pretty average middle class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Living in Australia?
Yeah, born in Melbourne, grew up in Sydney, and one of 7. So number 4, middle child. So classic middle child syndrome, which whatever that is for anybody.
Welcome to the party. We are too.
Yeah, there's so many variations on what it means to be a middle child. But we had a really good childhood in a lot of ways, but just normal, average, middle class, nothing flash, good schools. My father was a very, very good provider. For 7 kids, he did really well, but he was an absolute shit of a human being. Do you know what I mean? So it was almost like it was the fact that I've done all this for you means I can behave like this.
Yeah.
And he was the first, although I didn't know what narcissism was, he was a classic narcissist. And his disciplinary style was to humiliate you in public or belittle you. That was his discipline. So you didn't get hit, you just got belittled. So that constant language, statement.
It's interesting how you're bringing that up. I mean, is that part of the culture? Like, I mean, McDonald, is that Irish or Scottish? What are we talking in?
Look, there's a lot of history to our upbringing or how we bring up kids. But he had a horrible childhood,
right?
And so he was trying to deal with demons, but at the same time, he didn't want to break the cycle. Whereas I'm definitely trying to break the cycle.
Yeah. You've had enough of that.
I've had enough.
And you said, all right, that's it. I've seen a pattern there.
Yeah.
And I'm probably guessing maybe his father also had that pattern. So it was maybe genetics brought down the line.
We went through war. My dad lost his mum when he was young, and then there's a stepmother that came along, and then he was out on the streets with his brother living under a bridge when he was 15. And, he had a hard... There was an orphanage where all the kids got sent to while the war was on. It was challenging. They went through some pretty dark times. And I get it.
Yeah. So you've gone from a father who's criticising you, putting you down. You're saying he had probably thinking narcissistic traits.
Yeah.
Then you get married.
To the same thing.
To the same thing. I wonder though.
Hello?
No, I wonder. Yeah, maybe you're the issue. But I wonder though that we say that we're attracted to a kind or a type, and we normally we like that type. Were you attracted to her for the type of person that she was because she resembled comfort? I know this is really hard because I don't think, I'm not saying that you were comforting your father's criticism, but it was something that you got used to.
Yeah, well, my father was overt narcissistic. So very out there, comfortable being quite happy to embarrass you and belittle you. My partner, my wife, was covert. So there's completely different, but the behaviour is the same. One's just likes the limelight, the other one does it very quietly and subliminal.
She chipped away.
That's the death by 1,000 criticisms.
That is, yes.
And I left on $9.99. So
what does that mean, $9.99?
Well, that's when I left the marriage. I was broken. So at criticism number 999.
By 1,000 cuts, by 1,000 criticisms.
Yep. I was suicidal.
Right.
I sat on the top of a ladder for 6 hours with a rope in my hand. And it was just a really dark, dark period. And going to Cambodia was to get away from it all, to try and figure it out, to go on the journey.
Whoa.
So what got me off the ladder
was
that this person was going to get all the money and all the property and everything. And I'm thinking, you're the one that caused all this. Yeah. Why should you get the reward? And so I got down.
So it
was a really funny thing to motivate you.
You're on the top rung. You've had
I got the rope in hand, trying to figure it out, and I was just broken. Yeah. Absolutely broken.
This is really interesting because I think sometimes what happens is that you get to a point and I love it that we're here talking together, and thank you for your courage to open up to talk about this. But I think you get to a stage where you just go, whoa, the next step that I take, that's it. There's no coming back from this. Or some people, they might miss, or they're critically incapacitated. Yeah. Yours was that final step where you said, hang on, if I leave, you win. Was that
absolutely?
The point?
Yeah, very clear.
Yeah.
It was a real moment, and it's just like, right, okay, now I've got to get down and change this, change the will at least. You know what I mean? So to make the difference. And then it was 2 months later that I hit rock bottom again because of a couple of things that had happened after that. But because I reached out to 3 people that night, and I was ignored by all 3, which is a real challenge when you're. So maybe I was too honest to say that I was suicidal. Maybe I was. Do you know what I mean? Like it was really, maybe that was too confronting for people to hear.
Well, let's go back. I mean, we now know we've got things like, you know, well, look at what I'm wearing here, Bloke's Advice. We've got Mental
exactly.
Health Day.
Yeah,
We've got Are You OK Day. How many years ago are we talking back then?
So it's 2017.
That's not that long.
16 was when I was suicidal really badly. And then I disappeared over to Cambodia and I just went to go for a journey because I love travel. That's that helps me heal. And so that's my happy place, traveling, journey.
Yeah.
And the process of that led me to this journey. And so the heart attack was a beautiful gift in many ways because having the heart attack had me being surrounded by people who couldn't do enough for me because I've said I've had a heart attack. But when you tell people that you're suicidal and you're depressed, you end up very alone. It's the complete opposite.
Because they don't know what to do.
They don't understand. They don't know what to do. And I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yes.
How can I explain? I don't know what's going on. So how can I explain that? So the question, Are You OK Day is a fantastic day, but it's the wrong question.
Okay.
Because most people who ask that question aren't prepared for the answer. They're not.
100%.
They're not prepared for the answer.
100%. What if somebody turns around and says, actually, I'm not good?
Yep.
It's like,
no one knows what to do. And
yes.
if you say the wrong thing, you could actually help them go the wrong way.
Correct.
So the question has to be, how can I help you?
Okay.
And shut up and listen. Shut up and wait for the answer. Just, how can I help you?
That's interesting because...
That's the question.
All right. But Damon, let's just go back to, you know, you reached out to 3 of your mates. They would have been...
No, 3 women.
Oh, 3 women.
So one was my
friends?
ex because I just wanted to let her know I was struggling. And then there was a cousin and then there was my accountant. And so all 3 women. And all 3 women ignored me. Haven't contacted me since that day.
Wow. Because I'm just thinking, say the question that we now have in our heads, you know, the big yellow banner, Are You OK Day? We now change that to, how can I help you? Yeah. What if one of those 3 turned around and said that question, how can I help you? And then you didn't do an outpouring. Yeah. Do you think they're still prepared for the response?
No, but they're more prepared for it.
How do you mean?
Because by saying, how can I help you?
Right.
I have limited skills. I only have this capacity. How can I be of service to you? How can I help you? Because then you're safe in saying that. I'm not a trained doctor, but how can I help you? Oh, can I just have a cup of tea? Great. Yeah. That's it. So the person asking the question is actually more prepared.
Correct.
For that conversation.
Yeah. So this was only just recently. I didn't realize. I thought
2017. Yeah. So it's a few years.
Yeah, because we only just connected. We only just connected maybe 6 months ago.
Yep.
Something you know
through LinkedIn. Yeah.
Through LinkedIn, we connected. I saw your story, and you know, I think a friend of yours is a LinkedIn friend of mine.
Mutual friend. Yes.
Well, I've known her since I think 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Sharon's been a rock for me all the way through, which has been. She's amazing in the person that she would be, the person who says, "How can I help you?"
So I'm now thinking that we've connected. I've read your story. I've looked through the bio, and then we had this chance meeting. How's this? So this chance meeting, we've arranged to have today, which is Tuesday. We've arranged to have a coffee today, which, by the way,
cheers, mate. Very much.
We are having a coffee, but this wasn't originally going to be the interview. We were just going to have a chat today.
Yes.
And to organise maybe sitting down on the couch and having a bit of a chat about your story. But then something happened about 4 days ago.
Yeah, it was last week. We ended up at the same event, unknowingly.
We're at the same event, and I see your book sitting outside of your bag, and I'm looking across and I'm going, I am awesome. I said, I think I know this person. Either he's bought your book.
Yeah, okay.
And you're from behind, so I couldn't really, you know, you had a long lock of hair, you know, in the event. But I'm looking and I'm going, that's got to be Damon. Yeah. And then, of course, morning tea broke and I went, Damon.
Yeah.
And you went, who's that? Who is that? Who wants to fight me? And so, of course, I then said, let's just do this. So let's get into now your 2016, 2017, you've now divorced.
Yep.
you've divorced, you've moved to Cambodia.
No, I just went there to travel to get away
sorry,
from
yeah,
all.
that's what I
So
meant.
the idea for me was to just get back on a motorbike because that's my happy place.
Yep.
So I went over there, jumped on a motorbike, and just went for a ride.
Yeah.
I had no idea where I was wanting to go. I just wanted to ride, be so where no one knew me and I could just be.
How long did you ride for?
Well, I had the intentions of being there for 6 months.
Lovely.
And I lasted 4 weeks before I had the heart attack. But I'd been caving in the morning. I'd been abseiling, and this was on the way home. And so I just stopped at I was in the way out in the countryside, and there was just a little bar on the side of the river. So I just thought I'd stop on the way there, and that's where it happened. But I knew I had to get back on the motorbike to get to town.
Okay.
While I'm having the heart attack.
It's the best. It's the best.
A crazy journey.
Yeah. Not only crazy that you've had a heart attack, but you're on a motorbike, but you're also in Cambodia because the traffic there's not a lot of traffic over in Cambodia.
Yeah.
Everyone gives way to everyone. There's not a lot of noise over there.
To tell you the truth, on that journey, I'd been run off the road by 2 ambulances while I was on the motorbike. And I'm thinking, are you after business? Okay.
Hence the term ambulance chasers.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
So you're in Cambodia 4 weeks.
Yeah.
You get back to Australia.
Yeah.
What happens then?
I had to start again. So just went to family, stayed with my sister for a few weeks, and then started to look for new opportunities. So, and struggling to figure, but there was part of me that was still black, broken and whatever, and there was little shades of light that were flickering, and so I'd go to that to try and work out my next step, my next journey. Who did I want to become? So I couldn't work. I was just incapable. So I just had to live off some money that I had from property, and so that was the journey. So I gave myself.
And are you doing
months.
Are you doing some couch surfing along the way?
No. Well, at my sister's place for 3 weeks, while I was looking for somewhere to rent. And during the divorce, I'd moved out because it had just become intolerable. So I was living in a little single garage that had been converted, which was at the back of one of my investment properties, and there was no windows. So I was there for 6 months trying to deal with divorce, trying to deal with everything. And so while I was there, I dreamed of having water all around me and just light. I needed light.
Yeah.
And so it was so funny because that's what I was able to manifest. And so the beautiful place that I got was a little 2-bedroom townhouse on the waterfront in Toronto, Lake Macquarie.
Oh, just outside Newcastle.
Yeah, just outside. Yeah, beautiful spot. And I had winter sun all the way through the place. So I thought, okay, I've manifested that. Do you know what I mean? That property showed up, and it was one of 8 townhouses, and they had a shared jetty. And so when the time came for me to build the boat, I was the only one with the boat. So it was just a beautiful scenario. So building the boat was the process of me getting back in touch with my creativity, myself. That was my genius. You know what I mean? Like when you discover you're in a gift. And so, yeah.
I noticed that, so one, you've built yourself a boat, but I noticed also that you turned up in a little camper van. So that's your traveling spirit in you.
Everything I own is in that van now.
Really?
I ended up selling the boat and my waterfront property to make the book happen. That's the big journey I'm on now. Because that place and the boat was my healing.
Right.
That was a separate journey.
Yeah.
I'm now on a bigger journey.
Okay.
Which is inspiring kids to believe in who they see in the mirror. The journey I had to go on. So it's the external journeys that we go on, which creates the internal journey.
I'm a bit disappointed that you don't have a little trailer on the back with the motorbike on. Or is that coming?
I've got to sell a few books yet.
Yeah. All right. I do want to get into the book, but I think this lead up to your story is just fascinating because we get a lot of authors out there. You know, #1 bestseller here in the New York Times, #1 bestseller here on Amazon. This isn't about you becoming a #1 bestseller. This is about you just getting all your thoughts onto a piece of paper, into a graphical book, which we'll have a look at in a moment.
Yeah.
But then also to hand over to kids, to inspire kids to do what? What is the message?
Belief in self. The journey. This is the beautiful part about my whole journey, and the book has come through me as opposed to being from me. And where
I don't understand what that means. It comes through you.
I'm guided. If you've
so like you've manifested your waterfront property.
Yeah, same thing.
Something within the vibrations in the universe have said to you, this is your next step.
Yeah, because the boat's name was I Am Awesome, which started the whole journey. And it was so funny because I was building the boat and trying to think of a name for the boat. And there was, when I moved to my new house, there just happened to be someone who lived in the same block who drove exactly the same type of car and colour that my ex had. So there was these triggers coming every time I drove. I saw this damn car, and there was one day while I was just had a coffee with someone trying to work out the name for the boat, and the car drove past, and I just said, "Damn it, I am awesome,"
Right.
because it used to upset me all the time, and because she was putting me down, and so that was my statement to myself: I am awesome.
It's interesting because the word awesome isn't really an Australian colloquialism, is it?
No, not
it's
really.
It's more awesome. I'm thinking more North America, Canada,
Yeah,
American.
absolutely.
So that's interesting.
I get a lot of kickback from people who, especially with the name of the boat, because it's tall poppy syndrome. Oh, you're cocky, are you? You think of yourself as awesome.
Yeah.
There was a bit of that. It was really interesting.
That's Australian.
Yes.
Yeah. When you start letting people know that, hey, I'm good, I'm great, I'm getting better, and I'm greater.
They want to put you down.
We want to put. I think that Nathan Donati spoke about that the other day. If you're in the US and you're being a success, we celebrate success.
Celebrate you. Yeah.
But here in Australia, like the old Leighton Hewitt, come on.
Yeah.
Well, he got there. Let's now chop him down. It's interesting. So how did you punch through that?
I really just had to figure it out because I didn't know. And that's part of my journey as well, is learning that I only have one job in this whole process. Whenever I get a challenge, is to figure it out. That's it. Just figure it out. Find the skills. Find the person who's done it before. Find what you need. Figure it out. And so that's become my little mantra, so to speak. And so the concept of naming him as I am, instead of having the I am and making it one word as I am actually means spiritual identity as a word.
Yeah.
So that's his name.
I'll have a bit of a look there. So I've just brought it up on the screen.
Yep.
So the I am is one word. So it's like I am.
I am.
And
that word means spiritual identity.
Right.
And so this is his name. I am awesome. And awesome means to inspire awe. Leave people with their mouth open going, wow.
Yes.
And so the concept of that, so that's the question in the book, is I am awesome. Who are you?
Oh, not who are you, but who are you?
Verbally, when you say it, I am awesome, people are thinking you're saying I am awesome. So I'm definitely playing with the words, audio, but the visuals of reading it. Yeah. So the question when you read it is I am awesome, who are you? But when you say it, it's I am awesome, who are you? It's playing back at you. So there's that's deliberate and intentional. So it's just to get people thinking. That person who had the heart attack on the set was Bill Leak, the satirical cartoonist for the Australian newspaper. He challenged people's thinking. He got you uncomfortable. He got you out of your space. You either loved him or you hated him because he was controversial. And so I'm kind of following that reading those obituaries told me how he lived. But he told me how he affected people. But he was courageous in doing so.
The thing I really love about this story that you're telling me, I think there's this air of authenticity about you.
Has to be.
I mean, if it's really hard for people who are watching this or listening to this, I guess they'd be thinking that's kind of inspirational. So what you've done in a way is that you've come back from Cambodia, you've stayed in a house, like you've manifested the house, but you sold everything. And you just said to me that van that you pulled up in this morning, everything that you own is in that van. Now, there'll be people that are listening to this going, I could never do that.
Yeah, I know.
But
absolutely. I love it.
But do you think in a way that they want to, but there's so much comfort around them?
Yeah, that's it. Life needs to be uncomfortable for them to do it. Because your environment, your friends, your family, your position, job, whatever, is designed to support you. But it can also hold you back. So your limiting beliefs, your stories that you tell yourself is what holds you back. Nobody else. That's what this book's all about.
I'm not familiar with the limiting belief. What's that?
A limiting belief, well, it's a story that you tell yourself that you're not good enough. I can't do it. Oh, it's going to cost too money. I might lose my money. So-and-so, it's the tall poppy syndrome. So-and-so will, I'll lose my friends or whatever else. All of these stories they're inherently stories. That's all they are. They're just words that we put together to create a safe spot.
Yeah.
So that I don't push myself out.
And
why do we do that?
Yeah. Well, maybe we should have a day called that. Why are you doing what you're doing? And I think it's for comfort. It's for, there's a couple of things that we do need in our lives. We need certainty. We need certainty. We've got to know that we're going to wake up in the morning.
Some people do.
Well, in a way, I think we all need certainty.
Aspects of it, yeah.
Yeah, I've got to know that I'm going to make my coffee. I want certainty to know that the milk is
milk in the fridge
is going to be in the fridge. But I also need uncertainty.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think that's the point in which where we push ourselves. Like, I don't know if I'm going to get work tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be hired tomorrow. I don't know if where I'm going to be heading. And I think it's that uncomfortableness that makes us do extraordinary things that others would go, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And I think in your mindset, it's like you had no choice in this.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm grateful for the fact that I'd had no
because
choice in that.
Interesting, you've mentioned a couple of things. You said your heart attack was a gift.
Yeah,
and you
absolutely.
said that the criticisms were a gift.
Yep.
And your marriage breakdown was a gift. Yep. Everyone would be seeing that and going, that is not a gift, man. That is something they are.
They are. Life is either a lesson or a blessing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The wisdom comes from understanding that the lesson is the blessing.
Wow, that's a lot to unpack for me. Life is either a lesson or a blessing. So I'm either gifted with
a challenge to make you grow, push you outside your comfort zone.
Or the lesson.
Well, that's the lesson, the challenge. And the blessing, life is easy for you or something, you know what I mean? Like there's the rewards that come from that. But then when you understand that lesson you are going through is making you grow. It might be painful, it might be hard, it might be difficult, it might piss you off.
Yeah.
But you become a better person when you get through the other side of it. We don't grow in comfort. That's the whole idea of this book. It's the hero's journey. So the journey of the hero is to get uncomfortable, go into the unknown.
Do you think we overuse the word hero? Because there's a lot of, we look at the word, a person who, I'm just trying to think of an example, a person who walks across the road and has just finished, a half marathon, hero.
Yeah.
There's not heroic about that. No. So when you use the word hero and you're helping kids to be heroes, what do you really mean by that?
It's to show courage. Because courage comes in many shapes and forms. Courage could be getting out of bed in the morning.
Yes.
Someone with depression.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Courage is this big.
Yeah.
It's the first action towards something that will make you uncomfortable. So you can affirmation yourself to death.
Yeah.
But if you don't take action and courageous action, that creates fear. So you can either use fear and allow it to stop you because you're putting fear in front of you, or you can use fear to put it behind you and drive you forward.
Correct.
So the image I create is I put myself on the white horse and I want to charge into the abyss trying to figure it out. But fear is the black horse that wants to get in front all the time and slow the journey down and hide but you've as the one who's in control of your own journey, you've got to make sure the black horse stays behind you, get back in line. So you manage fear and you do that with the right stories.
I've heard a lot of those acronyms around fear, like FEAR.
Oh,
What is that? False evidence appearing real.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a story.
Yeah.
So there's two things with fear, and this is where stress comes into it. It's really powerful. The stress mechanism that we had in our old brain was designed to get you out of trouble, which was there's a snake who's about to bite you, or there's a lion about to attack you.
Correct.
So there's a stress reaction. Get out of the way.
Fight, flight.
Yep. All of our stress today is created stress. Because if you're not in a situation where something's going to kill you, it's a story that you've made up. And when you understand that, then you have the power to make the difference by changing the story.
Is it that principle around there are things that I can control, and then there are things that are out of my control, and we worry so much about the things that's out of my control. Yeah. So electricity prices going up, petrol prices going up. Yeah. So we create this stress that what's going to happen if the mortgage rates go up another 1%? Hasn't happened.
Yeah.
So we have anxiety about what if.
created, though.
And we've created it.
Absolutely.
We've created our own.
Don't blame anybody else.
Yeah.
You put yourself in that situation. Now, you could have bought a house that was less affordable and made your life a little bit more financially comfortable. But half the nation's running around with these mortgages that they can't afford. And so they're creating the stress, blaming everybody else.
But Damon, what would people think if I was living in a not a beautiful house?
And that's
what
where
would people think if my car
This is the dilemma.
still has wind down windows and doesn't have air conditioning? What would people think of me? That's the thing, isn't it? Is that we rely too much on what other people think about how we're doing, rather than going.
But that's a story.
Yeah, it is.
That's another story.
Yeah.
We're worried about what other people think. It's another. Now, kudos, go for it. Try and achieve greatness. But if it's not happening, don't blame anybody else. That's all it is.
Do you see
go
this?
for it, but don't blame
Do
anybody
you
else.
see this a lot of happening in social media now? Like we've got all these, we get these influencers, we get these people who have to show them, this is where I am, this is what I look like. We have
Life is
filters.
beautiful.
We have filters on our face. Look at us sitting here, you know.
Yeah.
This filter that we have on with our grey beards. It's interesting. Why do we do that? Like, there's got to be a reason. Is it insecurity? Is it I need to be part of a tribe? What is that all about? Because I don't get it.
I think the internet has allowed us to live different lives completely. Do you know what I mean? And the idea that, there's beautiful benefits to the internet, right? But there's also some negatives that go with it.
Yeah.
And AI is coming. There's going to be amazing benefits with AI, but there's going to be some negatives.
100%.
You got to make a choice which one you're going to focus on.
Yeah.
And so the social media, but it's also parenting in terms of these kids that are entitled. You can't blame them.
No, that's correct.
It's their parents who allowed them to be, enabled them.
You have just pissed off about 80% of the parents on here, where they're saying, Damon, you have no idea. The influence that's out there is what they get from school.
That's right.
Is what they get from their mates. I'm bringing them up to be, good little boys and girls.
Yeah.
And it's everyone else. Do you think that's the excuse that people like to use?
I think it's the easy answer. People don't want the hard answer. Okay. There's accepting responsibility.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can either stand and face and accept responsibility, or you can turn sideways and suck your gut in and try and let as little as possible touch you on the way through.
That's a good analogy.
And it is. It's what
Suck
happens.
your gut in.
Suck your gut in as responsibility goes past you.
Yeah.
You can choose to step in front of it. It's a choice.
Yeah.
It's hard, but you can do it. Because there are parents out there doing the right thing. And it's not to say you're not doing the wrong thing or not doing the right thing, but you've got to make good choices. That I think social media has allowed parents to become friends with their kids rather than the parents of their kids.
That's interesting.
And kids don't need friends; they need parents.
Yeah, that's true. And they need it. They need leadership. They need leadership. They need mentors, good mentors.
Good mentors.
You're not the mentors that we see hey, this is what I'm doing, and watch me on TikTok and look at me, running into people's houses or stealing dogs. Yeah. We don't need those sort of mentors. We need the real mentors.
But there's also accountability.
Yeah.
Consequences for your actions.
Yeah.
Both good and bad. If you're going to do good things, you get good rewards.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do bad things, there needs to be a consequence.
I want to now get to this point here.
Yep.
Let me bring this book here. This is what we're looking at. So it's not a thin book either.
No, 144 pages.
With its forward and its things at the end. And when I flick through it, I mean, it is really an easy read. Is there a page on here, and I'm putting you on the spot on here, is there a page on here that you go resonates with you? Is there some, or is there like...
Yeah, no, there's one where he's leaping for the cliff. He's leapt off one cliff and he's trying to cross the chasm. And so there's an image of him reaching out. So his feet are now no longer touching.
Yeah. And
he hasn't quite reached the to be able to grasp the other side yet. And so that's how I live my life now.
Yeah.
And I love it.
If I was to hand you the book, would you know the page?
Oh, not the actual page number. I could find the page.
But you could find it?
Yeah.
While we're still talking, if you could, because I'd like you to read that little
okay.
passage. No, we're not going to do like a sitting in the library and we're going to do a reading on here.
Yeah.
But the inspiration for you to do this book here, obviously, it shows.
Yeah.
The day that you picked up the pen, read.
Well, that's the
just
image.
show it to the just no, this way. The camera's this way.
Is that? Whoop, I haven't got it.
Let me put it
There
this
we go.
way. There we go.
There's me leaping.
All right.
And
It's hard on the camera,
I
isn't
know,
it?
I'm not
that's
used to
the
it.
way. Oh, the
I've
light.
got too much light on.
There we go. Leaping for the okay.
Leaping for the cliff. And it's the journey. So he just tried 3 times to do it and he fell.
Yeah.
So he's now going for it.
Yeah.
And he's got to make it,
Yeah.
which is what happens. You've got to get back up again.
It's like to me, it's like the learning application gap, isn't it? We can all learn.
Yeah.
It's easy. I mean, that's not hard to do. Damon, I can leap from one to the end because you can teach me how to do that. And then, of course, there's the application, which is I get to the other end. Would you mind just reading out a paragraph?
Yeah, sure.
And then let us.
So
let us hear
IAM
it.
hesitated, trying to build up his courage as he edged onto the face of the rock. He had to try and leap for the ledge. He shut his eyes tight, hoping for the best, and jumped. His fingers just caught the edge of the ledge, but his grip wasn't strong enough. He slid off the face of the rock and down again. He rolled and tumbled all the way down the hill, finally making a loud splash as he landed in the water again. Angry and disappointed, IAM dragged himself out of the water once more and repeated loudly to himself, I must do this. I need to do this. I have to do this. And thinking of his mother, he climbed the hill once more. So he had his purpose, his mother.
His mum. And his mum probably saying in the back of her head, let me put this up, his mum, he's thinking mum's probably saying, do me proud. You know, I know you can do this.
Well, she doesn't know he's on the journey.
Right.
And because he was supposed to get the medicine for her asthma. And he kept getting distracted because he was a kid, and just wandering off. And she ended up having an asthma attack and ended up going to hospital. So he's feeling bad.
Yeah.
He's let his mum down. And now he's got to go on the journey too.
So he's got a reason. He's got a reason to be able to achieve. He's got a purpose.
And we need that.
I spoke to a woman, I would say maybe about 6 or 7 years ago now. She's since passed. Her name was Jenny Gorman.
Yep.
And we had an interview similar to this. And one of the things that she talked about with me is that, Gerald, you've got to have a purpose in your life. Everyone must have a purpose. And I remember sitting there with her and I remember saying, Jenny, I don't have a purpose. I'm living my life day by day. I wake up in the morning, and I sort of like work out what I need to do. And then I come home at the end of the day. It's like hit the repeat button. And that's all I'm doing. And I still don't understand the concept of having a purpose because I don't know, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know what my purpose is. And although some people might say, well, this is your purpose, Gerald, sitting here having a chat to Damon or Neil or Keith or Michelle, that's your purpose, is to help spread the news. But that's not a purpose. This is a hobby.
But it can also be purpose. Why can't it not be?
So
do you get fulfilled? Do you enjoy the process?
But I get fulfilled if I have a really nice cold beer at the end of the day after working hard. But that's not a purpose. My purpose isn't to have a
That's
hard...
enjoyment and that's passion. So you're being fulfilled. So there's this question of people spend their lives trying to find happiness.
Yeah.
All right. When they really need to be inspired by the journey. So it's the journey that is the inspiration. And it really comes down to this concept of there's passion and purpose. If you are living your authenticity, then that someone is being inspired by you because you're living fulfilled.
Yeah.
All right. There's people watching you going, wow, I wish I had his life.
Yeah.
But you don't know that.
Yeah.
Because there's people that inspire, you're inspired by them. All right. So name one person who inspires you.
Well, you right now.
Okay.
Because I'll tell you why I say that. Because far too many times I think we start thinking about, who's our inspiration, but the person who's directly in front of you should be the person who inspires you.
Absolutely.
That's
me living my authentic life.
Yeah.
If I was living a shit life and doing the wrong thing and doing all the bad stuff, that's not inspiring.
But it could, no, hang on. But it could be inspiring to say, I don't want to live that shit life.
Well, that's inspiring.
Yes.
But living that shit life's not. All right?
But you're a lesson then. You're either the lesson or the
yeah,
blessing.
That's it.
Yes.
And so I when I'm doing markets and selling the books and whatnot, I either ask the person or the kids, I say, who inspires you? And I ask them to name someone that inspires them. And more often than not, it's probably 50-50 because it's mostly families, which is good.
That's good.
Parent, mother. But then they'll say some superhero, whatever. It could be a film star or someone from... And I say, do they know that you're inspired by them? And it's a deliberate question because they say no. Okay. And I say, right, okay. Just so they can get the concept of what's about to happen. Is the second question is, right, so who is inspired by you?
Right.
And for kids, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old, they don't even think that they're inspiring somebody.
Yeah, true.
So I said, who is someone little looking up to you? Is it your little brother? Is it someone from school? Your footy club, whatever else? Is someone looking at you going, wow? Because I want kids to be intentional, thinking that they may be inspiring somebody. Not deliberately seeking to inspire, but that would be great anyway. Do you know what I mean? But they have to connect with who they are, their genius, their skill, their greatness, their IAM, their spiritual identity. Who are they? What is that? You know, I'm really good at maths. Great. Okay, I'm great at sport. Great. I'm good at helping people. So passion and purpose. Passion is for yourself. So if you are authentically passionate about what you love doing, that is the purpose because it inspires others. So you don't have to intentionally do it. You don't have to intentionally have the purpose. You just have to be intentionally passionate about who you are. That's the difference. When you think of purpose, reframe it.
You talk to a lot of schools. You talk to a lot of kids.
Yeah.
What are you finding out there? Are you finding that the majority of kids are pretty much inspired? Do you see that there is hope? Do you see that we got a future of really good leaders? Or do you see that if we don't make changes in some of these kids' lives, I can start to see that we're going to lose a few?
Yeah. The age I speak to is younger kids. There's an enormous amount of hope because they're still at that age.
Malleable, yeah.
Right.
Can be trained.
But it's the 12 and ups that are getting lost. They're not lost yet, but they're getting lost because this is when they're starting to really create their identity. And they've got to go through the bullying stages. They've got to go through all the other challenges that come. That's the age group, I think. So it's a real that's where social media is really impacting a lot. But kids are being trained at 6, 7, and 8, 9. Most babies in a pram will have a phone instead of a dummy.
Horrible, isn't it?
That's why I'm saying be a better parent, because that's not going to help your child. That's just you making life easy for yourself. And I'm sorry, but that's wrong.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not the right way to raise your child, to intentionally raise a good human being, like an awesome human.
But you don't understand, Damon. You don't understand the pressures.
They're only excuses. And I'm facetious in that comment. You can make as many excuses you want to avoid the truth.
Ouch.
Because we all do it.
Yeah, people don't like the truth, do they?
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
I have a beautiful mentor, Raylene Burns. She's this beautiful...
Oh, the athlete?
No,
not Raylene.
Medicine for Your Spirit is her thing. She's just a beautiful, beautiful person.
Okay.
And she has this amazing question which she challenges you on. What are you lying to yourself about?
Ouch.
Now, we even tell lies to ourselves about what we're lying about. Because you know deep down that you're avoiding something. But you tell a lie to avoid acknowledging it. So what are we lying to ourselves about? So I had to ask that question.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
Yeah.
Going through my journey to figure it out.
Do you know what you were lying to yourself about?
Oh, yeah, in so many ways. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like in terms of, I was contributing to this relationship because I was enabling my partner to do that. Because I stayed there. But leaving the relationship I was telling all these stories about I couldn't leave the relationship because I couldn't do this because.
Yeah.
but I was being abused psychologically.
Yeah.
Okay. And for men, that's women, men have a tendency to be violent, but women have a tendency to be critical, criticize. So that's as powerful as a punch.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of blokes out there who will agree with that statement.
Yeah.
And yet it's not accountable.
Were you back then bitter?
Oh, I went through bitterness for sure. For sure. Because I could, if I had committed suicide, there would have been no question that there was nothing, it was never her fault.
Yeah.
And yet I'm sure there's a lot of blokes who have suicided.
Yeah.
Because of that concept. I internalized my anger and I ended up breaking myself. Do you know what I mean? Because of the stories I told myself, I wasn't worthy because I was listening to the criticisms. So that's where I had to take responsibility. So, and I need to preface this, there's no anger towards my ex at all now.
No,
in terms of, I've made peace with that. But what
I think that's the strength, isn't it? That's the strength of forgiveness.
What I've also, I had to forgive myself, not her. That doesn't matter about her. She's not going to change just because I forgive her. I have to change. So I have to forgive myself. So there's a real gift in that because I'm still in touch with the kids.
Yeah.
Even though I was a stepdad. I've made it very, very clear I'm never to have anything to do with her again, my ex. I don't want a communication with her because it's not to say I don't hate her and all that sort of stuff. I just know very clearly I have a very firm boundary now, whereas I didn't then. And so that helps me in that process.
Does this make you a little bit more cautious about relationships now?
Oh, hell yeah. But
You haven't gone all MGTOW, have you?
No,
have you heard of that term, MGTOW?
No, it's really quite interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that expression before. So it's
MGTOW, MGTOW, men going their own way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. Yeah, no, look, I did that to make all this happen. Okay, so the first year or two was really just struggling to figure it all out. Okay. I got to sit in front of Richard Branson at a Richard and Branson event, front row. Wow. 1 month after finding out, I did a personality profile, and I am the same personality profile as Richard Branson. So sitting at that event, I was just starting to write the book.
I got so many questions about that.
Oh, yeah. And it was amazing because we have the same personality profile, like identical. Now I'm listening to him talk about his childhood, which was, he was encouraged. He had dyslexia. You've got to figure it out. You've got to be challenged. So his mother, who he credits for being an entrepreneur, encouraged him, challenged him, supported him on his journey. Whereas I had the complete opposite.
Right.
Shut down, sit down, stay quiet, get in your box, don't make a noise. Yeah. And you're a bloody useless idiot. Oh. That was mine. So I thought, okay, what would happen if we were able to identify a child's genius and as a parent then be able to support them, which we don't. We put them into a school system which boxes them just like my parents did to me. You know what I mean? Because that's what they did and that's what their grandparents did and that's what everybody else did. It's because it's the way we've done it. We can't do that anymore. And the internet has allowed us to now change the whole system completely, which is identify the child's gift, genius. And the internet now means you can go anywhere you want to go in terms of education, sciences, maths, drama, whatever else. So we're in this amazing opportunity stage for reinventing how we raise kids. And this is what I want to do with the I Am Awesome movement.
Do you remember the documentary, the UK documentary? I think that's still going. It was called 7 Up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Brilliant.
Yes, looked at a bunch of kids at 7 years of age.
Brilliant
14.
observation.
Yeah. And I think it's still like they're talking now they're in their 50s or something.
Yeah, older than that now.
Probably. Yeah.
They're the same age as me, so I'm 62.
So if you have, you're a young fella. So if you have a look at that experiment or that social experiment that happened there, what happens along the way when you get someone like you who wants to inspire kids? And I'm sure some of those kids wanted to be inspired because the one in my mind's that little kid who wanted to be a jockey.
Oh, I remember him. Yeah, great.
Yeah. I mean, great character.
And
didn't end up being a jockey. How do you tell someone that you can do and be anything you want?
Yeah.
And he wanted to do and be anything he wanted, and then he didn't achieve it. What happened?
Yeah. Look, you can go for it, but it's not always going to happen. And that's being authentic.
Yeah, that's
Don't lie.
Yeah.
which is a lot of parents, you can be anything you want. You can't.
No, you can't.
If you're an overweight kid, you're not going to be a ballerina.
Oh, come on. Well, you can
Well,
today.
you can, but
You can.
is it really?
Yeah.
So authenticity is when I was rebuilding my life, I was Humpty Dumpty, fell off the wall, tried to put all the pieces back together again and realized I couldn't. So for me, I love visual images and imaging, and that's how I work things out. And so I started thinking, okay, I can't go back to the jigsaw puzzle that was my life, because that's all gone now. All the pieces, 1,000 pieces on the floor, and every piece turned black. So I thought, if I have to create a new me, which is what you do. You don't go through life. You have to create life. You create the opportunities. So, which is what entrepreneurs do. They create things.
Yeah.
They make things happen. So I started by designing this new life, which was, okay, if I got my corners, I could, because when you've got a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle and you've got to start putting it together, you know the 4 corners easily. You can pick them out of the jigsaw puzzle, right? But the light came on when the jigsaw puzzle piece was in the right. So was it top left? Was it bottom right? Which piece? So I made them my pillars. Gotcha. So top left was authenticity, and then trust, then passion, then self-care.
Oh, wow.
So they're now my 4 pillars for life, how I want to live. All right. And then I was rebuilding. So I did all the edges and worked that out. And as I put the piece in the right spot, the light came on. And I thought, okay, something's wrong here. I was creating a 2D image of a jigsaw puzzle of what my life should be. And if one piece is missing, it's not good. All right. So what I did was take the 4 corners and I've brought them in to create a foundational heart center. And now my life is an infinite jigsaw puzzle, just ever expanding.
Yeah, it never ends, does it?
No piece is wrong.
That's true.
No piece is wrong.
Okay.
And I'm up, down, left, right, in, whatever, health, family, wealth, whatever. I'm an infinite jigsaw puzzle. I want to teach kids to become infinite jigsaw puzzles.
Damon, that's actually a good idea for a jigsaw puzzle.
It is.
Like to have a jigsaw puzzle, 5,000 piece, and then you buy another one that says you can now push those out and have 10. I'm making things up.
No, but this is a good business model.
Good business model.
There's your genius. You can make a fortune on this.
Let's do that.
Okay, let's partner up.
Is this actually, have you made this into a jigsaw?
I will be.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I will be. But no, we need to make our life into a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
So that no piece is wrong. No piece is out of place. It is what it is.
My jigsaw would be very bland. It would be just a white canvas. And then I would say, let's put that together. It's interesting how you mentioned something about the...
But then you can bring others in to make the colour.
Yes.
See? That's the jigsaw puzzle. How does it work?
How does it work?
Yeah.
You mentioned something about Humpty Dumpty, right? And you were smashing all 1,000 pieces.
Yeah.
And while you were telling me that story, it was really interesting how you reached out to 3 people, an accountant and 2 other women, and that they would have been all the king's horses and all the king's men.
Absolutely.
They couldn't put you together again. I hate to.
No,
I'm not too sure.
Analogy.
I'm not too sure of how the saying goes.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, no one can fix you.
Yes.
Only you can fix you.
Yeah, absolutely. I went and saw psychologists.
Yeah.
And because I was in Victoria and then I moved up to New South Wales, I saw different ones. So it gave me an opportunity to say, okay, there's good ones and bad ones. And it's like, which is life.
That's life. Yeah.
There's good and bad and everything. They gave me medication. Now, I was suicidal. Like, literally, I was sitting on the top of the ladder. And then 2 months later, I had my hand on the gas bottle when somebody knocked on the door. So these moments were really difficult. They put me on medication, which made me worse.
Yeah.
Now, that's actually quite common.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell can this happen? And so I threw the medication away and I said, I have to do this. I have to figure this out. So my one job, figure it out. Ask questions. Find somebody who's done it before me. Follow their journey. Mimic the mentor.
Do you think the best medicine is connection?
Oh, absolutely. Hugely.
And you're doing this with the kids.
Yeah. But we're about to do it online through LinkedIn as well.
Oh, great.
I'm collaborating with some people to help create this human connection again. And it's really, so it's early days. I can't tell you too much.
We spoke about that the other day.
Yeah,
we did, yes.
That was the text message I got just before we sat down, which is fantastic to sort of say, okay, the next piece in the infinite jigsaw puzzle has just appeared. And so now we keep moving forward. But we want to create this concept of, and using LinkedIn, because LinkedIn for adults is a powerful, powerful connection.
Is there one for kids?
Well,
LinkedIn for Kids? It's not a bad idea.
there's a lot of stuff out there.
Oh.
But the I Am Awesome movement is what I want to create as the connection for kids. Because the I Am Awesome movement is about values and principles. That's our lane that we want to stay in. There's so many online learning concepts for literacy, numeracy, everything.
Yeah.
We are values and principles, but we are not the voice of authority for values and principles. So this is my big picture, and this is where I want to impact 1 billion kids by 2030.
I was just going to ask, what's your
Big
vision?
picture.
Yeah,
You
big
got to
picture.
have the big picture.
What did you say? 1 million kids?
No, 1 billion.
1 billion kids by.
And AI is going to allow me to do that.
Are there that many kids in the world?
Yeah.
1 billion? I guess there would be.
Everyone's got an inner child as well.
But yes.
So,
ooh,
This
power.
is why, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're outsourcing parenting online.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I want to create the place for values and principles.
But what are you going to say to that parent that now all of a sudden picks up, the kid picks up the book online, starts reading it, and the parent turns around and says, "Put the iPad down. Put that technology down." And they're going, "But Mum, I'm reading. Dad, I'm reading.
Yeah.
I Am Awesome."
Yeah.
That's a different.
Well, there's good
inspiration.
and bad. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you are they picking up the iPad to just
Play games.
stupid games where you go around killing people?
Yeah.
Or
not
do you
good.
pick up the iPad to learn and inspire? Do you drive a car to make things? Do you use trucks to get transport and transport goods? Yet they pollute.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I know. It's, yeah. There's good and bad.
There's good and bad. So it is what it is. But that's our big mission.
Billion kids, 2030.
2030, we want to impact. So we are the values and principles go-to place. We're just the platform to make it all happen. And the idea behind it is that you come and learn about the questions behind values and principles. What are they? Because you've got your religions as such to be the voice of authority. They position themselves as voice of authority on family and values and principles. We're not the voice of authority. We are simply asking questions. So when you show up at the door, you leave your gender, you leave your culture, you leave your race, you leave everything behind. You come in and ask questions. So I can translate what I'm developing with the I Am Awesome movement into every single race and every single culture, purely because it's values and principles. We can have 3 nuclear wars, okay? Values and principles are still going to be required on the other side of that. And the hero's journey is every single person's journey to get through and develop again. So I'm marrying the 2 things, the hero's journeys concept with values and principles.
What do you see as the barriers to you getting this, like, to fast track this? 2030 seems like a long way away. I mean, we can jump online now, and we can, if we wanted to, we could send this out to 1 billion people.
Of course we could.
But what barriers are you finding? Are people just going, "Oh, I'm just too busy. I've got other things going on."
There's a lot of that.
Is there?
There's a lot of that. And this is what I'm trying to do with this connection, with this human connection
a great
concept that I'm
idea.
doing. Because
Can you talk more about that, or is that just in the? Is it
a
just
little
in the,
early. A little early.
early?
Don't want to give too much information.
Don't
but
give
it's
anything
about
away.
it's about human connection, getting back in touch with shaking hands.
You're not recreating an internet sensation. You're not recreating a new Facebook or a new Instagram.
No.
It's going to
It's
be
using Facebook. Well, it's using LinkedIn
yes,
to create
social media.
better connections in person. So you're not just meeting online.
Yeah,
Okay. And so there's the idea is that we're just getting people connected. There's a secret handshake in my book, which is the idea is that it's a right-handed handshake and then a left-handed handshake underneath. Now, what you're doing is creating the infinity symbol.
oh, so
Yep.
like that.
Yep. No, it's 2 separate hands, but one on top of the other. Okay.
Okay, yeah,
And the idea, the meaning of it, secret meaning for the kids, is that it means I support you, you support me, together stronger. So, which is the infinity symbol? That's the historical legend in the book. That's what the infinity symbol represents.
it's like a cult.
It is. Yeah, yeah. It's a
But it's a
concept.
culture.
Yeah,
It's a positive culture.
it's a positive culture.
Yeah.
So the idea of that is that you understand I have the power to support you, you have the power to support me, but together we can be stronger. So that's the infinity handshake, because you create the concept, the symbol infinity by doing it. Okay. And so this is the message in the book as well. We support each other.
So where to from here?
Well, get this
Where to?
happening, this human connection happening. I'm traveling and just making connections. And the one thing, what would stop me, like you said, there's only when I look at all the people in the world and what they've done, Branson, J.K. Rowling, all those sort of people, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Colonel Sanders and all that sort of stuff, they only ever needed one yes.
Correct.
They got a lot of no's.
Yeah.
But they only needed one yes.
But the Colonel also, didn't he start at like 70?
Yeah, I'm 62.
There's no end. There's no start date. There's no end date. There's no start date. There's no end date.
Yeah, that's it.
Today could be the day.
Do it.
Yeah.
So my mission with these, the LinkedIn side of things is putting me in touch with people who can give me yeses. So I'm creating my own journey. I'm making it happen. And I could do market stalls and I could do a whole lot of other small talks, but it's not going to get me, it's not going to accelerate me. So I want to bring people in. I want to collaborate with people.
It's good. To
make this dream real, but create the impact, the wave. And I don't want to do it on my own. I do want to bring collaborations in. I do want to, because there's 3 books, there's 3 films I want to create. There's the online learning space, there's merchandise, there's licensing, there's a whole lot of things based on the I Am Awesome. And then the girl has a specific name, which I create. It's a made up name, but her name means my inner strength. And we want to rebrand her specifically for preteen girls based on my inner strength, not my external beauty. Because that's what's killing girls these days and making a lot of trouble is all about this external beauty.
Yeah.
Your beauty is a gift from your parents. It's not yours. You just have to maintain it. Your inner is your gift. That's yours, who you become. So that's kind of the bigger picture. So book 1 is the hero's journey. Book 2 is where does infinity start? Well, that starts on the other side of your limiting beliefs, the stories you tell yourself. Find out what your potential is. Go on that journey and figure it out. And then book 3 is because he wants to grow up and be an AI engineer so he can find out what's on the other side of infinity. Right? And it's really fun. So the other side of infinity is your legacy that goes on beyond you. That's the other side of infinity.
We could be here all day. I'm just showing this is your website, isn't it?
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah.
So where can people just go and just type in?
www.iamawesome.tv.
IamAwesome.tv and on LinkedIn?
Yeah. Same, just Damon B. McDonald. Connect me. There is an IamAwesome.tv on LinkedIn, but let's reach out to me.
I think your LinkedIn profile is you are clean shaven.
I am.
Such as my LinkedIn profile. This is
the very first time I've been able to go past 6 weeks with a beard. So it's now 6 months old, because I get to that itchy stage and shave it off, and I've never gone past it.
I know it's a while,
but I'm really liking it now. I'm getting used to it. I'm enjoying it. It's like it's part of the new facade. So isn't it? So
I've had a really, really good time, and I'm so glad that we finally got to connect. And you know, if we want to say that the universe brought us together at that event, and then I looked across and I went, hey, let's do this next Tuesday, which is today.
Yeah.
And here we are having a coffee and a bit of a chat about that. I've really enjoyed today.
I'm so appreciative of it.
You're really an inspiration, I think. And if we can get this out to more and more schools and kids and anyone, if there's anyone out there that thinks, you know, my kid could really do with something that is going to help build their courage.
Yep. Absolutely.
This is the way to do it.
Yeah. This is the concept that I'm trying to achieve. And there's some digital stuff online that you can get, which is just helps asking the question of past, present, future. So what shaped me? What was going on in the past, values and principles to create who I am now? But the most important question is, who do you want to become? That's what you've got to figure out.
Thanks for sitting with me today.
Thanks, buddy. Really appreciate it.
And everyone else, thanks very much. Bye for now.